Right, turning now to a disturbing story out of the West Bank. A 16-year-old Palestinian girl was shot and killed by Israeli soldiers during a raid in the West Bank town of Jενין on Sunday. The Israeli military says the shooting was unintentional and says Israeli fire was targeted at armed gunmen. This has been an especially deadly year for both Palestinians and Israelis. CNN's Hadass Gold joins us now live from Jerusalem. Hadass, what more do we know about this incident and also this young girl that lost her life?
Yeah, Eleni, this is an absolutely tragic story. We first began hearing about this young girl who was killed earlier this morning. She was a 16-year-old named Jana Zakarne, and her family, her uncle, actually told CNN that what happened was last night there was an Israeli military raid in Jενין. This is in the northern West Bank. These have become a regular occurrence, especially over this past year, the Israeli military targeting militant groups, especially in places like Jενין. And her family says that after the raid began and they began hearing heavy gunfire, Jana went up to the roof of her building in order to see what was going on. This is something we often see. Palestinians will film these raids as they happen. And then the family says that after the soldiers left the area, they went up to the roof, and that's where they found Jana dead. They said that she was shot 4 times. Now, just in the last few minutes, we have received the official statement from the Israeli military acknowledging that it was their soldiers that killed Jana. They say that during the raid, they say suspects hurled explosives and fired heavily at soldiers, including from roofs of houses. They say that they believe the girl was on a roof that was near another roof where a gunman may have been. They say following an initial inquiry, it was determined that the girl who was killed was hit, they say, by unintentional fire aimed at armed gunmen on a roof in the area from which the force was fired upon. Now, the Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz commented on this incident actually before the IDF statement, acknowledging that they were the ones who killed Jana. Take a listen to what he had to say.
First, I express my sorrow for her death, as for any death of someone who was not involved in terrorism, if that was indeed the case. This activity was about arrest of suspects in shooting attacks and involvement in terrorist organizations with the aim of murdering Israelis. During the incident, massive fire was fired at the forces and explosives and Molotov cocktails were thrown. In response, the forces returned fire at the sources of the shooting out of self-defense.
Now, the Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Shtayyeh has called in the UN to investigate this incident and put Israel on the blacklist. I asked the Israeli military whether there will be any sort of follow-up legal action. They say that they are still investigating the incident. Eleni.